The girl was a vampire. Gazing at her perpetually youthful body, she chose to turn to ash beneath the sunlight. In this future world, a plague had allowed vampires to rule over humanity. Humans were locked away underground, never permitted to see the sun again. A beggar wandered the streets, begging for blood, yet no one paid him any heed. Unable to endure his ravenous hunger, he lashed out with his claws at a passerby. Fortunately, the police stepped in just in time. He collapsed on the spot, and the onlookers were already accustomed to such scenes. For in this world, there were children who never aged, and elders who never perished. Lately, the price of blood had been soaring. Supermarkets remained crowded with vampires, waiting to buy blood to ease their gnawing hunger. This man was named Ed. He was a blood research specialist. One day, he was called emergently to headquarters. The leader informed him that after 10 years of captivity, most humans had already died, and fewer than 5% remained. This meant the vampire world stood on the edge of a devastating famine. Some starving vampires had begun feeding on their own kind, eventually mutating into grotesque monsters. The leader ordered Ed to find a solution at once. Ed proposed two plans. One was to develop synthetic blood, and the other was to make vampires immune to human blood. However, the second option had already been proven impossible. Once cut off from human blood, vampires would quickly wither away and die. Thus, synthetic blood became their only hope.
We must commence testing blood substitute.
Soon after, Ed began his experiments. The leader watched anxiously for the subject's reactions.
Very few.
Everything seemed to be progressing smoothly, but unfortunately, an accident still occurred. Ed tried to salvage the situation, yet the experiment still failed. Both the military and Ed were plunged into despair. He returned home dejected, and turned on a TV program introducing the underground city. Ed suddenly felt utterly exhausted. He no longer wanted to be a vampire. Just then, his younger brother walked in. It turned out that day was Ed's 1035th birthday. He brought a birthday gift, a bottle of fresh blood, but Ed poured it straight down the drain. His brother, flying into a rage, smashed the bottle, and because he hadn't closed the door when he entered, a vampire had caught the scent and slipped inside. Ed panicked, but luckily his brother was a soldier. He quickly took down the creature. Afterward, they called the police. The police arrived to clean up the scene, and discovered a wedding ring on the vampire's body. Ed was shocked when he saw it. He recognized this mutated vampire. It was his former gardener. Because the gardener couldn't afford blood, he had mutated into this horrifying form. This filled Ed with deep sorrow. The next day at work, he returned to his office to continue working on blood substitutes.